Action games are making a comeback, baby. Action hack and slash. Hell yeah, we are here for it. We have Ninja Gaiden 2 that was released as a shadow drop. We have Ninja Gaiden 4 later this year. All good fun.
Hack and slash action video games were kind of a common genre throughout the PlayStation 2 and into Xbox 360 PS3 era, but over the past decade, the games industry has kind of stepped away from this, with minimal games in this genre releasing, and more so, the popular action-based genre nowadays is absolutely Souls-like. For a while there, we ended up losing out on real-time action games that are incredibly fast-paced with hit counters on the left side of the screen, over-the-top action sequences, and moveset input lists as complex as a fighting game. The 6th and 7th
I will say when Cynical makes that comment about inputs as complicated as fighting games, that is actually true, because that is the one fault that Asmongold had when he first started playing Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. He came into it fresh out of like playing Souls likes in the past. He played Berserker Kazan demo. He played and finished Wukong. He played action RPG. He played the Souls-like genre before this game. And this game, we have to remember that Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is a remaster of the first game, so you have to turn your head back in time to 2000s to where it was very prominent for Devil May Cry, for Shinobi, for Dynasty Warrior, Bayonetta, Ninja Gaiden, a lot of these games. And so it's a change in format that not a lot of people are aware of. Even God of War changed its format between the first 3 games and 2018. 2018 is a very different type of action genre than the original God of War from 2004, 2006.
Generation of consoles had so many great games within this genre, or at least slightly tapped into this genre, like God of War, Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, Castlevania, Nano Breaker, Onimusha, Shinobi, Legacy of Kain.
I will say Ninja Gaiden, Onimusha 3 was a really weird timey-wimey thing, because let me see if I can pull it up, because who was it? The actor. I'm looking at 3. They used the likeness of Jean Reno for his physical likeness, and for the beginning part of Ninja Gaiden 3 for Onimusha 3, you heard Jean Reno talking. However, it is a funny situation that because of his busy schedule, he couldn't do the English voice work. So it's a situation where it got really weird trying to be different games at once, but it was a nice conclusion in a way, because time travel is really weird. However, they made Jean Reno's character very different from the main character. So you play Onimusha 3 with 2 different characters. However, they had enough of a different moveset that made it really fun.
Dynasty Warriors, Star Wars Force Unleashed, Nightshade, Bayonetta, Dante's Inferno, Darksiders. There were so many great action hack and slash.
Lollipop Chainsaw was a really good game too.
It's also catered towards gamers of all experience. If you're looking for an easy breezy button masher, then most of these games played on the easiest difficulty are going to be a pretty sweet and easy time. However, if you are looking for a challenge, cranking a lot of these games up to the hardest difficulty, for example the Ninja Gaiden games, you're going to get your ass slapped purple. However, over the past few years, it would seem that the games industry is going through a bit of a resurgence.
Ringananas, really fun game. I don't know how it's doing at the moment, but the demo was really fun. Return to form, kind of.
Of making old video game genres relevant again. I mean, 2024 gave us Astrobot, which ended up winning Game of the Year. For a video game to win Game of the Year that is a platformer in 2024 is pure insanity, but we are so here for it. The return of character-focused action hack and slash games, though, personally gets me the most excited. 2024 had...
That one should be Final Fantasy Stranger Tides, I think. Strangers in Paradise, I think.
5 notable games that released within this genre, or at the very least took inspiration from it. Obviously, the biggest one here is Wtphu. While this game certainly does have Souls-like elements to it, it is more so leaning in the direction of a traditional action game. And this is one of the most successful games of last year. It generated over 20 million units within its first month and 10 million units within the first 3 days. Also coming from a development studio who had previously developed a console title. This has quickly become one of China's most successful video game releases of all time, and has even encouraged the Chinese government to start investing into video game development to generate more video games.
Could you imagine what can happen in an industry if the government had a positive influence? If the government had a positive influence in the genre for China, I'm excited to see what happens, because I think, if I remember reading articles correctly, Lost Souls aside is a first time game from a Chinese producer. So we'll see what happens from there. And Phantom Blade Zero maybe is a Chinese producer, I don't know.
Coming out of China. Stellar Blade was also another notable game that released last year, coming from Korean developer Wtphu. Like Wtphu, it's another case of taking Souls-like elements, though this game, while at first does appear to be more Souls-like than action hack and slash,
like 60-40 maybe?
Very much then leans more towards traditional action, and absolutely starts to become quite reminiscent of those old-school action games. While this game certainly wasn't as successful as Wtphu, it definitely was profitable for Wtphu. We also had Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Gory Cuddly Carnage,
Cuddly Carnage? I'm not sure about that.
and Zenless Zone Zero. With all 3 of these...
However, I have played Zenless Zone Zero. Might come back to it later this year. But Grand Blue Remake is also... Relink is in my Steam library. Is in my Steam wishlist, because this game, very fun. And you have multiple weapon styles that you can play that happen to have particular skins on it. So I want to play the longsword. We all know who she is, but it's not about her. It's about power.
Games leaning into real-time, fast-paced action hack and slash. But in 2025, we're seeing even more of these kinds of games coming through. There is a total of 6 here, which is absolutely huge, and definitely tells me that devs are starting to take a second look at this genre and see that, hey, people still care about it, let's make games like this. Hands down, my most anticipated game releasing this year in this genre is absolutely Lost Soul Aside, a game that we've been waiting for since 2016. The core inspirations behind this game are both Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy 15. We've received a lot of footage of this game over the years. I mean, it's taken almost a decade.
I will say that for it to have a Final Fantasy Devil May Cry inspiration tracks, because Final Fantasy 16 has the combat director from Devil May Cry 3, from Devil May Cry the franchise. So very good idea, very good pick. I enjoy it.
For it to release, and from what we can see, it absolutely appears as if it is a very fast-paced game like Devil May Cry. The Devil May Cry influence is just incredibly obvious. Though, of course, at the same time, we've then got that Final Fantasy type aesthetic going on. It's
hell yeah, baby.
The two together. And hey, even the Devil May Cry style rank mechanic is here. I truly hope it turns out to be
that's
good
pretty cool.
Of how long we've been waiting for it. It is coming.
Oh my god, air slashes into a dive? That is sick. That is sick. Devil May Cry for sure.
A couple of weeks ago, we saw the return of Dynasty Warriors, the first new game since 2018.
I am happy that I conquered Lubu during the demo, but again, it's Dynasty Warriors Origins in my wish list, because this is a return to form to where people thought it was a dead game because it released a game almost every year, every 2 years, and then quiet, and then we got this game. Fuck yeah.
Dynasty Warriors Origins, and this is a pretty triumphant return, as this is now the highest rated game across the entire franchise. While I can't speak from personal experience, as this is still on the to-do list, a lot are saying that this is one of the best Dynasty Warrior games that Koei Tecmo have put out. This is great to see, because the Warriors games are incredibly niche in the sense that they are sort of almost in a genre of their own. Big, large-scale battles with real-time action combat. While it really does take ideas from action hack and slash, this is sort of its own thing, and it's great to see that it's still in 2025 is a successful.
Oh, that's super. That's Super Bomber.
Still in 2025,
boom.
successful game to pursue. Koei Tecmo also brought back another beloved IP IP of theirs, Ninja Gaiden, with revealing both Ninja Gaiden 2 Black and Ninja Gaiden 4 to release later on this year. So starting with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, this is a UE5 remake of the second game. However, it is still technically the second game as it's running on that old engine, just with a layer of UE5 visuals on top. The Ninja
What?
2 Black, this is a UE5 remake of the second game. However, it is still technically the second game as it's running on that old engine, just with a layer of UE5 visuals on top.
That is very cool. The idea that it, for whatever reason, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is 80, 90 gigs, but for the fact that it involves a graphical overhaul with UE5, but still uses the old engine for the game, for the mechanics right here. Very good idea. It looks immaculate. Sonya, beautiful. Momiji, beautiful. Rachel, hot. Ayane, beautiful.
Ninja Gaiden reveal sort of came out of completely nowhere. I think a lot of people were convinced that this was a graveyard IP to not only get Ninja Gaiden 4, wow, that's huge, it's been beyond 10 years since 3, but also on the same day of the announcement, a remake of the second game is some pretty crazy stuff. Ninja Gaiden is regarded as one of the best in amongst DMC3 hack and slash games there is on offer, and it's also regarded as one of the tougher ones. Some even
It is one of the tougher ones because back in the early 2000s of 2004, 8, and 12, it was considered a badge of honor. A badge of honor when you would 100% complete these games back in those days. Achievement lists were, I believe, were a thing when the Xbox had its hands on it. I believe PlayStation back on the Xbox One. I don't believe there was achievements, but you got the ability to unlock certain features, certain costumes, certain modes, depending on your progress and your performance in the game. When it got remastered into Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, Ninja Gaiden 3, Ninja Gaiden Razor's Edge. Oh, a lot of naming conventions, but essentially when they introduced it into the genre, the 360, I think, PlayStation 3, 360, it allowed so much missions, so many missions to do when you had to do achievements, and if you had a platinums on all those games, you were the Elden Lord, you were the Elder Gods before Mesmer, before the Moon Presence, you were the strongest ones before Lothric.
even say that Ninja Gaiden is one of the very first Souls-like games in regards to its difficulty. Ninja Gaiden 4, though, is a huge deal, a proper true return to the franchise, but also because it's being co-developed by action game specialists Platinum Games. Platinum Games have been quiet for a little while, and they haven't exactly...
What were Platinum Games' previous titles? Platinum... What was their itinerary? What was their games? Babylon Fall was not the best. Oh boy. Okay, let me look at let's look at Steam Publisher. Let's see. Platinum Games made Persona 5, I believe. I believe they made Persona. They were on the team for making Persona games. So currently, games. They made Soul Cresta. They made Wonderful 100, Vanquish, Bayonetta, After School Heroes. Games. So from a cursory review, they made Bayonetta. They did the Bayonetta series, Vanquish, Nier Automata. Hell yeah, Nier Automata. They made Transformers Devastations. We have that on the channel. We played, what's this game? TMNT, Mutants in Manhattan. There was Wonderful 100, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 16, 16, Star Fox Zero. Yeah, a whole lot of games. So for them to appear as a co-producer, fuck yeah.
News with some believing that the studio could potentially be seeing a closure. But I guess, over the past few years, this is what they've been working on. And while Team Ninja are on board to develop Ninja Gaiden 4, if you're going to entrust any other development studio to help bring this franchise back into relevancy, what better way than to get Platinum Games on board, considering their expertise in this exact genre. Another game that's been making some absolute waves is Phantom Blade Zero. Now, this isn't concreted for 2025, but developer S-Game are hoping to get the game out by the end of the year. Though this could change, and we could see this for an early 2026 release. Now, most people would
Please make it a 2026 game. I am always for delaying video games if it means allowing the developer and publisher to polish this game so shiny I can see my face on it.
Thinking when this game first got revealed not too long back, oh shit, we have yet another Japanese-themed Souls-like. It looks gorgeous, but yeah, the attention is going to kind of dwindle if it's another Souls-like. And S-Game immediately followed up by saying, this isn't a Souls-like at all. This is very much a fast-paced action game like the ones you used to play back in the day, which I think absolutely helped retain attention.
Very good, very good. Hell yeah.
Interest in this increased tenfold when we got that good news. Now, this is coming from another Chinese developer known as S-Game. They've released a few games over the course of time, but this would be their very first big
game.
And the game is looking crazy promising. There seems to be this trend going on at the moment where Asian development studios are just popping out of nowhere, or there are these studios that have existed for a while, but no one knows who they are, but they randomly start promoting this really cool-ass looking video game. I love it. The Asian video games industry is starting to make some insane waves and finally a name for themselves. I believe that over the next coming decade, throughout the 2020s, this is going to be the big Asian video game market takeover, which is honestly nothing but a good thing because these guys are consistently pumping out sick-ass video games, and video games that are very reminiscent of what we used to experience throughout the PS2, Xbox 360 era. The last games
I want to feel like I'm 13 again. I want to feel like I am 10 again because, actually, wait, hold on. Yeah, 13, 15, 11 through 15, yeah. Because during that 5-year time, it was a good time in video games to play God of War, to play Ninja Gaiden. What was also Onimusha was a fun game. Bringing back to 2000s is almost like the theme of this year. So I'm very excited. And the first Berserker Kazan, very good. I liked playing the demo. It's on the channel.
To look forward to for this year is the first Berserker Kazan. The demo for this recently released, and I had an absolute blast. I initially thought that this game was just a true and tried, fast-paced hack and slash. But in fact, it actually leans more towards Souls-like than it does hack and slash. That being said though, this game, out of the numerous amount of different Souls-likes that I've personally experienced, leans more towards the easier end of the spectrum, and oftentimes feels very reminiscent of a traditional action game. In my opinion, when you look...
And this game was fun because, case in point, the more skill points you earn, I believe there will be a final list of like 6 weapons you can play. There was a fist weapon, there was a hammer, or you can play the game barehanded. And this game gives you 3 weapons to begin with. You can also just go like fisticuffs in this game too. No skill tree needed. Just you, your hands, and the blood of your enemies.
Look at Blacksmith Wukong and Stellar Blade. Those are like 75% action hack and slash and 25% Souls-like. Whereas Kazan here is more so 60% Souls-like, 40% action hack and slash. I mentioned this in my first impressions video for the first Berserker, but if you are someone who generally doesn't enjoy Souls-like because of the difficulty curve, well, I urge you to take a second look at the first Berserker. I think that this game could very well be that one exception to the Souls-like.
I did not realize that thing you're walking into,
this game could very well be that one.
It looks like a giant. I can't say, but it looks like a giant.
An exception to the Souls-like genre. Now, there's one more game that I have to mention. Though it's not releasing this year, rather it's releasing next year.
2026, baby! 2026.
Since the last game. That is Onimusha Way of the Sword.
Way of the Sword. This year is the 20th anniversary of Monster Hunter. Next year? No, yeah, last year. Sorry. Next year is going to be 20th anniversary of Onimusha. Heck yeah.
Thanks.
Hell
When
yeah.
this game got revealed at the Game Awards last year, hands down for me, the best, most hype announcement out of the entire show. Capcom have been doing a stellar job of bringing back their old titles, and Onimusha is definitely one that a lot of people were convinced, yes, this is dead. Like, Capcom are never going to return to this. This is like 6 feet deep. It is under. It was a surprise to even see that we got a Netflix anime adaptation of Onimusha. That was really strange.
It was really weird. Wasn't well received, I don't think.
20 years after Onimusha 4 is pure insanity. Also because a little while ago, Capcom were retesting the waters for interest surrounding Onimusha with re-releasing the first game, which, yeah, sales on that were abysmal. Though
It was abysmal because I will say a part of the reason why was like the music from the first game is very different in the remaster because of copyright and legal issues. But other than the facelift that the graphics got, I believe it maintained the difficult. What we say now it's difficult, the janky controls of the 2000s. So they didn't change. They didn't make quality of life changes in the game, I think. But they just kept it the same. They remastered the graphics. They changed the audio, and I think that was it.
going back to the earlier Onimusha games is incredibly hard due to the old school fixed camera angles like you come across in the old Resident Evil games. From what we know about this game, it is not Souls-like and will follow in the path of a traditional action game. So sort of similar to how Onimusha 4 is presented. Details on this game are incredibly vague for the time being, but we are set to learn more about the game throughout 2025. So it's absolutely apparent that this
I will be covering the news about it. I'm really excited.
genre of video game is making a strong comeback. We can only hope that the games that are set to release throughout this year that are positioned within this genre hopefully turn out to be successful, convincing more developers around the world to develop further video games that revolve around action hack and slash. I hope this video has been helpful to provide a little bit of insight towards what's going on for this genre of video game. Let me know in the comment section down below, what 2025 action games are you most looking forward to? However guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
I am happy that I tuned in because Senegal does a really good job at covering these conversations. I enjoy it. I think he deserves your like. The link will be in the description down below, but give him a like, give him some love. I enjoy his coverages. He probably was raised around the same time that I was, where these games were critical in our lifetime, but also understand that because of how it's the reason I feel like the reason why Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is getting such a good reception is because it was unexpected, but it also sets a precedent to where it's a standard of a certain thing, and we need to be very careful going forward in the next couple of years because there's a very good chance of the franchise of the genre going down again because of poor choices. So with Phantom Blade Zero, with Lost Souls aside, we need to be very careful of how they develop their games. But I am along for the ride. So hey, give them a like and follow. And that's the video. Thanks.